ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम। शुक्लां भरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुर्साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। गुरवे सर्वलोकानां विषये भवरोगिणां निधाये सर्वविद्यानां श्री दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। श्रुति स्मृति पुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करम् अपार करुणा सिन्धुं ज्ञानदं शान्तरूपिणं श्रीचन्द्रशेखर गुरुं प्रणमामि मुदान्वहं। परित्यज्य मौनं वठाधस्थितिं च व्रजन् भारतस्य प्रदेशात् प्रदेशम् मधुस्यन्ति वाचा जनान् धर्म मार्गे नयन् श्रीजयेन्द्रो गुरुर्भाति चित्ते। नमामः शङ्करान् वाक्य विजयेन्द्र सरस्वती श्रीगुरुं शिष्टमार्गानो नेतारं सन्मतिप्रदं। श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम. In the last couple of classes in Devathin Kural, we have been seeing about Acharam. What is Acharam? Acharam is basically following the footsteps of our ancestors. The Rishis have codified from Vedas. Vedas are Mula Pramanas. Vedas are Sarva Pramanas. From the Vedas, the Rishis have codified what are all the things to do, what are all the things that should not be done, do's and don'ts. There are several points like that, even from Vedas. And then there will be, in Vedas, it will only say Satyam Vada. In order to expound on that statement, there are Puranas. Harishchandra Puranam. Harishchandra, the story of Harishchandra will say how to follow that Vedic statement of Satyam Vada. Dharmanchara, Srimad Ramayanam, Srimad Mahabharatam will explain that one statement of Dharmanchara. Pitrudevo Bhava. Ramayana explains how Rama did Pitruvakya Pariparana. Pitrudevo Bhava is just one statement in Vedas. Vedas are called as Prabhu Samhita. Prabhu means master. Vedas will command all of us, hey, do this, do that. Just like a master will ask their servant, hey, do this. Master will not take time to explain, okay, how to do it, how, the finesse of doing things. Master will not explain. That the servant has to find on its own. In the same way, Vedas are called as Prabhu Samhita. Vedas will give only, one-line statements as to do this, do that. Annam bahukurvita, annanna nindyat, tatvratam, annanna parichakshita, tadvratam, annam bahukurvita, tadvratam, napsu mutra purisham kuryat, na nivasana snayat, na nishtivet. These are all the rules that are given by Vedas. These are all one-line rules. But how to follow that rule, we don't know, right? That is why Puranas, Itihasas, Kavyas, all those came into picture. Puranas, Itihasas, Acharya Vakyam, Kavyas, they are called as Suhrit Samhita and Kanta Samhita. Veda is Prabhu Samhita, the command by a master. But Itihasa Puranas and Acharya Vakyam, they are called as Suhrit Samhita and Kanta Samhita. What is Suhrit Samhita? Friend. Suhrit means friend. Suhrit Samhita, just like how one friend will help another friend, in the same way, and Kanta Samhita. Kanta means wife. Just like how a wife will advise a husband, in the same way, the Itihasa Puranas and Acharya Vakyams, the Dharma Shastra Smritis will tell all those things that are taken from Vedas. They try to, they will help us to put those rules into practice. And those things are called as acharas. And acharas will have two phalams. Acharas will have drishta phalam and adrishta phalam. And Mahaperiyava says, hey, do not be stuck with only the drishta phalam of acharas. The drishta phalam of acharas is only temporary, but the adrishta phalam of acharas is more permanent, is relatively more permanent than the Drishtapalam, because we will get Ishwaranugrahanam, we will get Punyam because of following the Achara. That is the Adrishtaphalam of following Achara. And that is what given, that is what should be given more priority over the Drishtaphalam we saw previously. We also saw that previously people said Acharam, they all Madisanji, Paraya Panjangam. It does not have any scientific validation. It does not have any scientific basis. That's what previously people told. But now people are telling, hey, our acharam is exactly science. Whatever science says, it is always there in our achara. So people now has turned the tables and they equate acharam with science. But Mahaperiyava says both are incorrect. Achara can neither be confirmed by science nor be disputed by science, because because science only cares about the Drishtaphalam. Science doesn't even accept Adrishtaphalam. So we cannot have science as a basis of either validating our achara or invalidating our achara. We have to be very, very careful, especially when we are taking the achara values to the next generation. That is the second point we saw previously. And the third point we saw was acharam is the basis for bhakti and jnanam. It is not enough to follow just bhakti. It is not enough to follow the path of bhakti marga and jnana marga without following the achara. Yes, bhakti margam and jnana margam have to be pursued. There is no second question about that. But that bhakti and jnanam has to be established on the basis of acharam. Acharam has to be that basement on which the building of bhakti and jnanam has to be built. Bhakti and jnanam has to be always supported by acharam. And especially in the last class, we saw how acharam is in relationship with the jnana margam, how acharam is in relationship with Vedanta. People have this misconception that when we follow Bhagavad Gita, when we follow Viveka Chudamani, when we learn Upanishad, immediately we have to stop all the Vaidhika karmas, don't do Sandhya Vandanam, don't do any puja, because they are not going to help us for getting moksha. Jnana devatu kaivalyam. Only jnanam will help us get me moksha. So I don't have to follow all these things. This is a very, very, very wrong misconception. It should not be there. Acharam has to be followed. Only when we follow acharam, we will get karma. We will get chitta shuddhi, that is the purity of mind. Only when our mind is pure, our quest to dhyana marga, our quest on the jnana marga, only when we follow acharam and only when we have our mind purified, that quest is going to be fruitful. Otherwise, it is not going to be fruitful. Krishna uses a very strong word in Bhagavad Gita, mithyachara sauchyate. Mityachara, hypocrites, those who tell that they are following the path of Jnana Margam and they are leaving the path of Karma Margam. Krishna says they are hypocrites. That is why, even though all the Shankara Mathams have been instituted by Acharya Bhagavad Padacharya for the propagation of Jnana Margam. All the Shankara Mathams will have the utmost respect for Acharam. If we see in our Matham, in Kanchi Matham, the Acharams are followed to the extreme. Mahaperiyava followed Acharams to the extreme. We all saw, there was one experience when Mahaperiyava had to undergo an eye surgery. The doctor apparently advised him not to take bath because the surgery was just finished, and if he takes bath the next day, it is going to infect his eyes. By the time the doctor came next day, Mahaperiyava has already taken 4 or 5 baths because the previous day was some grahanam, it seems. So we have seen with our own eyes. We are hearing the stories of Mahaperiyava. We are hearing the stories of all the Shankaracharyas, how they place Acharam above their own physical comforts. Olukam viluppam taralam, olukam uyirinum ombapadum, says Thiruvalluvar. These people, these Shankaracharyas, these gurus are the living example for that Tirukkural. So our acharam is very, very important even for a person, especially for the person who pursues the path of Jnana Marga. And we have also seen some of the acharam points last week that, okay, do this, do that, wash your legs before eating, wash your legs before sleeping, do not eat onion or garlic, do not drink coffee, try avoiding silk products, wake up early in the morning. All these points, some of the acharam points that Mahaperiyava said, we have seen in the last couple of classes. Now we are going to go to a very, very important topic of aharam, that is food. Annam. Annam does not only means rice. Annam means all the food that we eat. Normally, what we think about food, we take food for granted, meaning we don't even think twice before eating anything. We think the food helps to build our physical body. That is our notion of food. But according to Shastra, it also has an influence on our mind. Food not only has an influence on our physical body, it also has influence on our mind. Just like how when we eat bad food, we get physical pain, we get stomachache, we get diarrhea, we get dysentery, vomition, all those things we get if we eat bad food. That is food influencing the physical body. In the same way, if our food habits are not right, it is going to take a toll on our mind as well. Remember, we are following everything for getting mind purity, for getting purity of mind, so that we can get jnanam to get moksha. So our mind has to be very, very pure, and food plays a very major role in that process. That is why, if we see in Vedas, there are a lot of passages in Vedas about food, about annam. In Taittiriya Upanishad, it says, Annadvai praja prajayante yakascha prithivigashritah ato anne naiva jivanti ataina dabhiyantyantatah annagum hi bhutanam jeshtham tasmaat sarvaushadhamuchyate sarvam vaitenamapnuvanti येन्हं ब्रह्मोपासते अन्नगुं हि भूतानां ज्येष्ठं तस्मात् सर्वौषधमुच्यते अन्नात् भूतानि जायन्ते जातान्यन्नेन वर्धन्ते अध्यतेति च भूतानि तस्मादन्नं तदुच्यत इति तस्माद्वा एतस्मादन्नरसमयात् अन्नगुं हि भूतानां ज्येष्ठं tasmat sarva aushadhamuchyate. Aushadham means medicine. Annam is considered to be a medicine. Annam should be considered as a medicine for our problems. And in fact, in Vedanta, there is a Panchakosha Viveka. In Taittiriya Upanishad, when the Upanishad is trying to teach about Brahman, it starts with Annam. Annam Brahmeti Vyajanad, Annadhyeva Khalvimani Bhutani Jayante, Anne Najatani Jivanti, Annam Prayantyabhisam Vishantiti, Tad Vijnaya Punareva Varunam Pitaramupasasara. He says, hey, your quest to Brahman has to start with Annam. Your quest to Brahman has to start with your physical body, because your physical body is made up of Annam. Annat bhutani jayante, jatan yanyena vardhante. Annat bhutani jayante. Bhutani, all those physical beings are born out of Annam. This we can see with our eyes itself. If I eat good food, my body gets more food. All the molecules in our food gets converted into our body. So Annam, the food, is our quest to Brahman has to start from the Annamaya Kosha, has to start from the food. That is why Annam is given very, very, very important place in our Shastram. We take it for granted. We are, even according to science, a lot of problems. Now we have a lot of disease because of our improper food practices. Doctors say, but Shastras also say, hey, all those problems does not stop only with our physical problems, but you will also have mental issues. You will also have mind issues that are related to Annam. That is what we are going to see how Peryava says. And in fact, this class is going to be Bhagavad Gita class, because we are going to see a lot of shlokas from Bhagavad Gita. Before that, I would like to tell this Tirukkural. In fact, this part, I don't think it is present in Daivatun Kural, but it comes as an experience with Mahaperiyava. There is this Tirukkural that says, Yakava Rayinum Nakaka Kavakal Sogapar Sullirukku. The literal meaning of Tirukkural is, hey, you should watch what you say, what you speak. Nak means tongue, right? You should watch what you speak. It doesn't matter, even if you cannot control all the other faculties in your body. Yagavar ayinam. Nakaka, you should be able to control your tongue. That means you should be watching what you speak. Kavakal, if you don't do that, sogapar sollirukku, they will get shoka, because all the other people will start abusing him. Who speaks bad about all the people will also going to be speaking bad about him. So that is why you have to watch your tongue, says Tiruvalluvar in Tirukkural. In that experience, Mahaperiva quotes this Tirukkural and he says, hey, this Tirukkural can be interpreted in another way. What another way? Yagavarayinum nakaka. Here, tongue is taken as the organ of eating food. Mouth. Yagavarayinum nakaka. If it doesn't matter if you cannot control all your organs of action, but you should definitely control what you eat. Nakaka, what you eat. If you don't do that, if you eat indiscriminately, if you eat ashastrik food, then kavakal sogapar sollirukku, the food that you are going to eat is going to affect your mind. Your mind is going to affect your actions, and because when you do bad actions, people are going to speak bad about you. So he is basically converting nakaka, tongue, the organ of speech, into mouth, the organ of eating food. Yagava rayinum nakaka kavakal sogapar solluzhukkupattu. I thought since this is relevant here, I will tell this Tirukkural and then we will go. So, because our food affects our mind as well, in order for our food to do good both body and mind, in order for our food to do good to both our body and mind, our food has to be pure. Our food has to be sattvic in nature, says Mahapiryava, says our Shastras. He only tells what the Shastra says. So it is very important that we eat sattvic food. Now the question comes, what are three gunas? What is sattvic? What does that mean? Let us see, because Mahaperiyava explains that in this chapter of Devathan Kural. We will see an introduction to Trigunas and then we will see what is sattvic. In Krishna, in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna talks about three gunas: Sattvam, Rajas, Tamayiti gunaha, Prakriti Sambhavaha, Nibadhranti Mahabaho, Dehe, Dehinam Avyayam. Hey Arjuna, there are three gunas are there. What are the three gunas? Sattva guna, Rajo guna, Tamo guna. And these three gunas are Prakriti Sambhavaha. They are born out of Maya, Prakriti Sambhavaha, and Nibadhranti Mahabaho, Dehe Dehinam Avyayam. It is in fact these three gunas that binds the jiva to the body. Dehe, Dehinam means jiva. Dehinam Avyayam, Dehe Nibadhranti. These three gunas are the one which bind the jiva to the body. It means these three gunas affect how the jiva conducts himself through this body. And these three gunas are Sattva guna, Rajo guna, Tamo guna. And Krishna explains in detail what are the three gunas, what are the effects of three gunas, and more importantly, what are the food that helps these three gunas. That's what we are going to see today. Krishna says in the 14th chapter of Gita, called as Gunatraya Vibhaga Yogaha, Tatra Sattvam Nirmalatvat, Prakashakam Anamayam, Sukha Sangena Badhnati, Jnana Sangena Chanaga. Hey Arjuna, of these three gunas, Sattva guna is Nirmalatvat, Prakashakam Anamayam. This Sattva guna is free from all the defects. Malam means defects. Nirmalam, no defect. That means this Sattva guna is free from all the defects. Sukha Sangena Badhnati. It gives lot of sukham. Sukham means pleasure. It gives lot of sukham to people. Jnana Sanghena Chanaga. It is also helpful for the people who want knowledge. So Sattva guna has to be improved in a person. Tatra Sattvam Nirmalatvat Prakashakam Anamayam Sukha Sangena Badhanati Jnana Sangena Chanagha, says Krishna about Sattva guna. Okay, then what about Rajo guna and Tamo guna? Rajo ragatmakam vidhi trishna sangasamudbhavam tannibhadnati kaundeya karma sangena dehinam. This Rajo guna, what happens? This Rajo guna is in the form of raga. Ragatmakam vidhi. Raga means kama, asai, all the desires. Rajo ragatmakam vidhi. What does it do? Trishna sanga samudbhavam. It causes a thirst in people. Thirst means not the thirst for water, thirst for things. Because if we, I'm having thirst for power, we say, I want a house. That is a kind of thirst that we have, and that causes us to go and buy a house, right? So, Trishna Sanga Samudbhavam, Tannibhadnati Kaunteya, Karma Sangena Dehinam. It causes the Jivatma to be associated with karma. Because if I have a desire, Rajoguna causes the desire in people. And if I have the desire, in order to fulfill that desire, I will go do some work. I will do karma, and that karma, this jivatma, because of his overwhelming desire, he will always be interested in doing karma, interested in doing actions, ethical or otherwise, because of rajoguna. Rajo ragatmakam vidhi trishna sanga samudbhavam tannibadhnati kaunteya karma sangena dehinam. Okay, then what about tamoguna? तमस्त्वज्ञानजं विद्धि मोहनं सर्वदेहिनां प्रमादालस्य निद्राभिः तन्निबध्नाति भारत. हे अर्जुना, तमस्तु अज्ञानं विद्धि. Tamoguna is ajnanam. Ajnanam means ignorance. Tamoguna is a form of ignorance. Tamastu ajnanam viddhi mohanam sarvadehinam. It causes delusion in all the people. It means when I don't know about something, it is like gossiping. We gossip. Gossiping is a form of, is an effect of tamoguna, because we don't know what actually happened. Say we are gossiping about a couple, we don't know what actually happened in between them, but we assume that something happened, and then we will start imagining things. All those things are tamoguna. Tamastu ajnanam viddhi mohanam sarvadehinam. And tamoguna causes what? Pramada alasya nidrabihi tannibhadnati bharata. Pramadaha means carelessness, indifference. Normally in Tamil, pramadam means superlative. If somebody sings very beautiful, we will say, hey, romba pramadama padina. But in Sanskritam, the word pramada means carelessness. In Sanskritam, the word pramada means indifference. If we have a lot of tamoguna, it causes us to be careless in doing things. We have lot of people, even among school kids, they will do lot of careless mistakes in their math test, all because of this overwhelming tamoguna. Pramadasya, pramada, alasya nidrabi. It also causes people to be very, very lazy, and it also causes people to sleep a lot. Pramadalasya nidrabihi tannibhadnati bharata. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, these are the three gunas and the qualities of three gunas: Sattva guna, Rajoguna, and Tamoguna. Here, Krishna then continues to explain the effects of three gunas. What does Sattva guna mean? When do you have an overwhelming Sattva guna? What does Sattva guna mean? Like, when do you have a predominant Sattva guna in your body? When do you know you have a predominant Rajoguna in your body? And what are going to be the effects of predominant Sattva guna and predominant Rajoguna, predominant Tamoguna in your body? Krishna is saying. He says, Sarvadvareshu dehesmin prakasha upajayate jnanam yada tada vidyat vivruddhim sattvamityuta. Now we all have predominant sattva guna. Why? Because we all want more knowledge. I am getting knowledge by talking about Daivatin Kural. You guys are getting knowledge by hearing about Daivatin Kural. So whenever there is a thirst for knowledge, whenever jnanam is given primary importance, then it means that person has got a predominant sattva. Because there will be some people, if you ask them to do a lot of stuff, they will not get tired at all. They can do n number of things. But if we ask them to come and sit in a class, they cannot sit. Even for kids, they cannot sit. Even for adults, hey, I'm telling one shloka. Why can't you learn that shloka? They cannot sit in a place for more than 5 minutes, because they will have a lot of rajoguna. But when you have a predominant sattva you will have that capacity to learn. Sarvadvareshu dehesmin prakasha upajayate. When you are being illuminated by all the organs of knowledge, सर्वद्वारेषु देहेऽस्मिन् प्रकाश उपजायते ज्ञानं यदा तदा विद्यात् विवृद्धं सत्त्वमित्यत. So sattva-guna, whenever you have a thirst of knowledge, whenever you are in that mood to study, whenever you are in a mood to gain knowledge, it means at that time you have a lot of sattva-guna. Okay, what about rajoguna? Lobaha pravritirarambha कर्मणाम अशमस्पृहा रजस्येतानि जायन्ते विवृद्धे भरत ऋषभ. हे भरत ऋषभ, हे अर्जुना, रजस्येतानि जायन्ते. Rajogunam acts like this. How? Lobaha. What is lobaha? Means physical restlessness. I always have to do something. That is called, sorry, greed. Lobaha means greed. When I am greedy for something, when I am greedy, I have a lot of rajoguna. Pravritirarambaha. In Tamil we say vadamba adadadadan irukummo. That is called as pravritirarambaha. They cannot sit in a place quietly for some time. They always have to do some things. Physical restlessness and mental restlessness also. Karmanam ashamaspraha. So both physical restlessness, okay, if we ask them to do, okay, even if they don't do any physical karma, they will always be thinking about things. They will always be making plans. They will always be imagining things. Hey Arjuna, all those are the effects of Rajoguna, Arjuna. Please know that. Okay, what about Tamoguna then? Krishna says, Aprakasho pravrittischa pramado moha evacha tamasyetani jayante vivruddhe kurunandana. He kurunandana, he Arjuna, tamaha etani jayante. The tamoguna's effects are this. What? Aprakashaha, apravrittischa, pramadoha, pramadaha, moha evacha. Aprakashaha means darkness, dullness. Person will always be dull if there are more tamoguna. Apravrittischa. What do they do? They are not interested in doing anything. Whatever they start or whatever they think they will be starting, they will find n number of reasons not to do things. Rajoguna person will find n number of reasons to do a thing. Tamoguna person will find n number of reasons not to start a thing. Aprakashaha, apravrittischa, pramadaha moha evacha. Even when somebody forces them to do karma, they will be doing it with carelessness. Pramadaha, indifference, and moha evacha. They will always be deluded. They will always put their wrong foot forward. All those things are the effect of tamoguna. Hey Arjuna, know this. So this sattva guna, rajoguna, tamoguna is like a scale. On the one end of the scale, that is tamoguna, that is inaction, carelessness, sleep, delusion, etc. But on the extreme other end of the scale lies rajoguna, which is what? Thirst, over emotion, anger, always wanted to do things. Our Shastra says both of them are bad. Either this extreme inactivity or the extreme activity, both of them are bad. Sattva guna is shamapradana. Sattva guna have an equanimity of mind. They will always be balanced in nature. They will not be an impulsive. They don't have an impulsive reaction for all the actions. They don't act impulsively on all the time, but they will be an intelligent driven people. They will have balanced nature, that balances between extreme inaction and extreme action. They will do what needs to be done. They will not do what should not be done. So these are the three gunas: sattva guna, rajo guna, and tamo guna. Now you guys say, what is that we want more? Do we want more tamoguna and rajoguna, or do we want sattva-guna? We want a lot of sattva-guna in our body. And Krishna also says, What are the results of these three gunas? Urdhvam gacchanti sattvastaha, madhye tishtanti rajasaha, jaganya guna vriddhistha, adho gacchanti tamasa. Hey Arjuna, know that all those sattva people, all those sattva guna people, all those people who have predominant sattva guna, who has predominant sattva guna as their nature, they will go urdhvam gacchanti. They will reach higher and higher things in their life. Even after their death, if you have predominant sattva guna, you will reach Svargaloka, which is a higher loka. While living, you will go to new heights. Means what? You will achieve a lot of things if you have sattva guna, and after you are dead, you will also reach higher lokas like Svargaloka, Bhuhu, Bhuvaha, Suvaha, Mahaha, Janaha, Tapaha, Satyaha, all those lokas are there. We are currently living in Bhuloka, but there are Bhuvarloka, Suvarloka, Maharloka, Janoloka, Tapoloka, Satyaloka. When a person, predominant Sattva person dies, after his death, he is going to go to all those lokas, Arjuna. Urdhvam gacchanti sattvastha. Madhye tishtanti rajasa. When a person has got a lot of rajoguna, he cannot go down, he is not going to go up, but he will be in a mediocre place. Madhye tishtanti rajasa. Even after his death, he is going to be born again in this bhuloka, and then after whatever he does, it is going to be the result of that predominant rajasa guna. Madhye tishtanti rajasa, jaganya guna vriddhistha, adhogachanti tamasa. Adhogachanti tamasa has to be very important. The people who has got predominant tamoguna, they will get adhogati. In Tamil, we say adhogati. We will say, right? That is called as adhogachanti. They will get that adhogati, meaning what? They will go lower and lower and lower in their life. Even when they are living, their lifestyle will go lower and lower. Their status in the society will be lower and lower. And even after their death, they will go to Patala Loka, Atala Vitala Sutala, all the Rasatala, Talatala, Patala Lokas. They will go to all those adholokas. I'm not saying, Mahaperiyava is not saying, Krishna is saying in Bhagavad Gita. That is why it is absolutely essential that whatever we do, whatever we eat, whatever we consume has to be one that increases the sattva guna and not rajoguna and not tamoguna, because we are only interested in going above and above and above. We are not interested in being like this for more number of times, more number of janmas, and we are definitely not interested in going downwards. We are definitely not interested in getting an adhogati, and that is why it is very important that the food that we eat, because it makes up our body, it literally, the food that we eat makes up our body, and it also has got a very, very, very big influence on our mind. It has to have two levels of purity. It has to have these following two levels of purity in order to increase the sattva guna in our body, in order to increase the sattva guna in our mind. Okay, what are the two levels of purity that Mahaperiyava says? The first one is the purity of the raw material. The first one concerns with the status of the raw material. What is the raw materials for our food? The fruit that we eat, the vegetables that we eat, the grain of rice that we eat, all the physical material that we eat, it has to have the right quality. Just like how we have sattva guna, rajoguna, tamoguna, the food also has got these three gunas. When we eat certain kind of food, it is going to increase sattva guna in our body. We are going to see what are those foods. When we eat certain type of foods, that is going to increase rajo guna in our body. when we eat certain types of food, irrespective of how it's cooked, that is going to come later. But those foods, there are certain foods that is going to increase tamo guna in our body. So the first one concerns with the physical raw material of the food. The second one is what people overlook. At least the first one, now we all understand, okay, we have to eat pure food. If not for Shastric reasons, at least for the health reasons, we can only eat those fruits and those vegetables, or those food which are going to be good for our health. We don't want to eat anything that is going to be doing bad for our health. That at least now we are understanding. But the second one is often overlooked upon. The second one, Mahaperiyava says, the people who cook our food, the people who handle our food, the people who serve our food has to be sattvic in nature. The first one, the raw materials of the food has to be pure, the raw materials of the food has to be sattvic. That, okay, we accept. We even follow that. We don't eat a rotten fruit, because we have some common sense. So we accept that, we follow that to some extent. But the second point, even a highly educated person, even a good scientist, he cannot follow, because they don't have the concept of food affecting the mind. The people who handle our food has to be sattvic as well. It is absolutely essential, because Mahaperiyava is going to tell us a story that is going to come later. In olden days, people will not even eat outside. People will only eat home cooked food. People will only eat the food that has been cooked by either the wife or their mother or swayam pakam. They will cook their own food and they will eat. And even for some reasons, if there is a shraddha where Shastra allows people to go out and eat in somebody else's house, people will say, hey, do you guys eat onion and garlic? If yes, I'm not going to eat in your house. And what about the person who cooks their food? People will only eat the food that has been cooked by, cooked by people who has taken some Panchakshari Japam or Ashtakshari Japam. That was the Achara in old days. And that is what we are going to see later as well. So all these two things are very, very important. Now let us see the first point as to what Krishna says about what types of food is going to give me what gunas. Krishna says in Gita, it comes in the 17th chapter, Aharastu api sarvasya trivido bhavati priyaha. Hey Arjuna, hey priyaha, hey dear one, Aharastu api sarvasya trivido bhavati. Even the food that we eat can be divided into three types, Arjuna. What are the three types? Sattva-guna, Rajoguna, Tamoguna. Even the food that we eat can be classified as Sattva, can be classified as Rajoguna, and can be classified as Tamoguna Pradhana Ahara. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. Okay, what does he say about food that creates more Sattva-guna? Ayus Sattva Balarogya Sukha Priti Vivardhanaha Rasyaha Snigdhaha Stira Hrudya Aharaha Satvika Priyaha. Hey Arjuna, know these food to be liked by people of Sattva Guna in nature. Know these food as those foods which increase the Sattva Guna quality in a person. What are those foods? Ayuhu Sattva Balarogya Sukha Priti Vivardhanaha. Those food that increases ayuhu, that increases our physical, our age. Means what? It doesn't cause any harm. Sattva balarogya, balam, it has to give balam to us, it has to give arogyam to us, it has to be healthy. Whatever food that is healthy, whatever food that gives us lot of dirgha ayushu, those things are sattva food. And especially those food which are rasyaha snigdhaha sthira hridya. Rasyaha meaning it has to be pleasing for taste. If something that does not taste good, If something that does not smell good, don't eat those food. They are not sattvic in nature. It has to be pleasant, pleasantly prepared food. There are a lot of food that are pungent. There is apparently a cheese called as blue cheese, where fungus is grown inside the cheese. It is so pungent it cannot be even smelled. All those things are rajo and tamo guna, definitely not sattvic guna. Rasyaha snigdaha, and it also should not be dry. It has to be snigdaha. It has to have moisture in it. Stira hridya ahara satvika priyaha, and that food is going to cause what? And that food will increase longevity. Ayuhu sattva balarogya sukha priti. It also gives you mental clarity. It gives you strength. It also gives you lot of health, and it is also pleasureful. It is also pleasing for all the senses. Those food are called as satvika ahara according to Krishna. What are rajasa ahara? Katu, katu, amla, lavanadyushna, tikshna ruksha vidahinaha. Ahara rajasasyeshta, dukkha shokamaya prada. These rajasic food, the rajasic food will give what? Dukkha, shoka, amaya pradaha. These rajasic food will give you pain. Dukkha will give you sorrow, shoka. They also give you amaya pradaha. They also give you bad health. These food will make you ill, Arjuna. What are those food? Kathu, amala, lavana, atyushna, tikshna, ruksha vidahinaha. Those food that are extremely bitter, very bitterful food, and very sourful food. All these are extremes. A light bitter, light sour, that is fine. But extreme bitter food, extreme heat food, extremely pungent food, extremely spicy food, all those things are, hey Arjuna, it is going to give you dukkha, it is going to give you shoka, it is going to give you amaya pradaha. Extremely heat. Atyushna means very, very hot food. When we are eating, we cannot eat food that is so hot. You have to give it some time for it to get cool, and then only eat. If you eat so hard, you get lot of ulcer. If you eat lot of sour food, it is going to give you ulcer, and that is what? Amaya pradaha. And that is why all those food are classified as rajasic in nature and tamasic in nature. What are those tamasic food? This is where personally I think that we all are eating tamasic food. Why? Because Krishna says, Yata yamam gatarasam puti paryushitan chayat uchishtam chamedhyam bhojanam tamasa priyam. Yata yamam. One yama is about 3 hours. Yata yama means food that has been cooked before 3 hours. Krishna says, according to Krishna, according to Shastra, you can only eat food that has been cooked within 3 hours. If the food has gone beyond 3 hours, that food becomes tamasic in nature, says Krishna. How about the food that has been cooked 5 days before, kept in freezer, kept in fridge? We cannot even start off talking about those things. That is why in those days, people have that concept of pattu and parampattu. They will give you, okay, one day you eat, but after one day, the food will become parampattu and it is not to be eaten. People will give it for food or for dog. People will not eat. People will definitely not keep all the cooked food in fridge. People will definitely not pre-make, pre-plan your food, freeze it, make the food, freeze it, eat it after 15 days, eat it after 5 days. Those food are called as tamasa ahara, and that will only increase tamasa guna, laziness, carelessness in our body and in our mind. Shastra says, yatayamam gatarasam. Those food that has been excessively dried, puti Paryushitam chayat. Those food that is called as yachal. Paryushitam. Uchishtam api chamedhyam. Amedhyam means those food which are not worthy of giving to Bhagavan. Who are those food which are not worthy of being offered to Bhagavan. So Mahaperiyava says, whatever you do Nevedyam to Bhagavan, you eat. Because we cook a lot of food. We will put lot of onion in our food, lot of garlic in our food, lot of things that should not be in our food. We put everything, we eat. But for Bhagavan, we will give some kanja drakshay, some, some kalkandi, we do nevedya. Mahapareva says, no, no, no. Only eat those foods that you are confident of offering to Bhagavan. Amedhyam means food that is not to be offered to Bhagavan. All those food are liked by tamasa gunas people. All those food will increase the tamo guna in you, says Krishna, says Mahaperiyava in Devathin Kural. And he also says, what are the things to avoid? So avoid all the Rajasic and Tamasic food. Meaning what? Food that are prepared, food that has got that qualities. And there are also certain vegetables. Normally, we think all the vegetarian is sattvic. No, there are certain vegetables like onion, certain vegetables like garlic, which are very, very pungent in nature. All the spices are vegetarian. There is absolutely no question about it. But there are some spices that are classified as Rajasic and Tamasic. So please avoid all those Rajasic and Tamasic vegetables, Rajasic and Tamasic food like parampattu, that food that has been, carried over from the previous days, all those things that has to be avoided, and definitely avoid non-vegetarian food, especially for a Brahmana. Mahaprabhu says, even for other varnas, Shastra allows eating of some non-vegetarian food because they have to go to war. If people have to go to war, you cannot ask that soldier to eat only vegetarian food. It is not going to help him. So Shastra allows non-vegetarian food for other people, but for Brahmana, who is very much important, whose prime duty is Vedadhyayana, whose prime duty is to do Vedadhyayana and to do all those pujas. Non-vegetarian food has to be absolutely avoided, says Mahaperiyava, and avoid alcohol at all expense. Alcohol should definitely be avoided because alcohol is one of the Pancha Maha Papa. Surapanam is one of the Panchamaha Papas. For all the Papas, there are Prayaschittam. For these Panchamaha Papas, we will see about what are the Panchamaha Papas later in a different context. But know that drinking alcohol is one of the Panchamaha Papa. Social drinking, all those things are absolutely no if a person is committed to a sattvic lifestyle. So avoid all alcohol. Mahaperiyava also says avoid smoking tobacco as well. So smoking, drinking, all those things are avoided. Most of the people have no problem with the first four things. People are already not eating Rajasic, Tamasic food, vegetables. They are not eating non-vegetarian food. They are not drinking alcohol. They are not smoking. But in the fifth point, Mahaperiyava gets all of us. He gets most of us. He also says avoid drinking coffee. See, he is putting coffee in the same list as non-vegetarian food. He is putting coffee in the same list as alcohol. He is putting coffee in the same list as smoking. Then we can understand how bad coffee is on our health, how bad coffee is on our mind. What are all the wrong things coffee is going to do to our body and mind can be understood just by looking at this list. Coffee is being equated to alcohol, coffee is being equated to smoking, coffee is being equated to eating meat, coffee is being equated to having Rajasic and Tamasic food. And that is why coffee has to be absolutely stop. We are going to see about this coffee later in detail, but know this, that this has to be avoided if a person wants to have sattvic in nature. In fact, Mahaparivara says in Devatin Kural, everybody should come to the Chandramaulishwara Sannidhi and they have to do a promise in front of Chandramaulishwara that they will avoid coffee, that they will avoid silk, and that they will avoid cinema. These are the three topics, these are the three practices that he says. Next class, I will quote that line from Devatin Kural. He says, everybody should come to the Chandramaulishwara Sannidhi. Chandramaulishwarar Sannidhila, நான் காப்பி குடிக்க மாட்டேன், நான் சினிமா பார்க்க மாட்டேன், நான் பட்டுடுத்திக்க மாட்டேன்னு எல்லாரும் வந்து சத்தியம் பண்ணணும் அப்படின்னு மகாபரிவா சொல்றார் in தெய்வத்தின் குரல். Of course, we are going to see that later. But now know that in the topic of aharam, we have only seen the first thing. There are two things. The raw materials like fruits and veggies has to be sattvic. The second thing, the people who cook our food, the people who handle our food, they also have to have purity in their mind. They also have to be sattvic in nature. We don't have time to see that point now. Mahaparivara will say a story, and then from that story he will say lot of things about point number 2 which we normally overlook. All those things we will see from the next class. Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.